Uncover the latest trends and strategies in influencer marketing, from identifying up-and-coming talent to leveraging influencers for startup promotion. This episode provides valuable insights for both brands and creators navigating this dynamic field. In this clip, we're featuring highlights from my conversation with Jordan Schwarzenburger, manager of the massive UK collective known as the Sidemen. Jordan provides fascinating insights into the Sidemen's business empire, which spans everything from fried chicken to vodka, and shares his thoughts on the future of the creator economy.
Yeah, so the Sidemen are, I guess, for anyone under the age of probably 25, probably the biggest celebrities in the country, or the biggest talent in the country, and some of the biggest in Europe. The boys basically for the last 10 years have built their name on YouTube and on other socials, but especially on YouTube, creating brilliant content as this group of 7 friends who really are genuinely seven best mates. Some started more in gaming than others, some more just general kind of YouTube content, human content. They've all come from, playing games, enjoying football, enjoying the kind of world of, I guess, being a young man in going up in the early 21st century. The Sides is a fried chicken brand. I would never have thought a year ago, 2 years ago, that we'd be running or part of the running team of a fried chicken chain. But there we go. It's a fried chicken brand which is based around the concept of 7 sauces, and the principle being which side do you want. So vodka is again a beast. It's one of those things. Yeah, let's just make a vodka brand. The boys always like to party. Let's go out. They love, the kind of the space, and we thought, okay. It was one of the ideas they're really passionate about. Let's give it a go.
What do you think about kind of like the broader creator economy and how that will evolve over the next few years?
Yeah, so I think for me, it's been interesting being able to see the differences between the more traditional talent world, I guess the paid for entertainers, people who are booked by channels or commissioners or broadcasters, or they're booked by brands it's more of a kind of, there's more of a one-way street. It's less of a community brand. And I think with the boys and with brands like the boys, whether it's FaZe, whether it's Beast, whether it's 100 Thieves, they've created these communities. As you said, right, the media brands, the entertainment brands of the future are probably, the FaZe, not even probably, they are right now. The FaZes, the 100 Thieves, the Beast, hopefully what we're doing as well, creating these sort of media, not even just media, it's these kind of entertainment businesses, the future Disney's, that's coming from creators now, I think.
In this clip, we're featuring highlights from our interview with Britton, founder of Famous Birthdays. Evan shares insights into how his platform has become a go-to resource for information on celebrities and creators, and how it's evolving in the ever-changing landscape of social media and entertainment.
Yeah, we're IMDb for creators, or you can say Wikipedia for creators. Obviously, you can go to the creator social platforms and see amazing content, but we have the boring info, their bio and their headshots and, what you would get on Wikipedia, because a lot of these creators aren't on Wikipedia, even though they have millions of followers. We have a team of 50 plus people. So we do a lot of watching videos to learn about what they do. We also interact directly with the creators. All the headshots on our site are licensed either via red carpet for traditional celebrities, or the creators directly, send us approval for them.
And how does the popularity ranking work? Is it purely just clicks, or is there more to it than that?
It's all based on our own user activity. That's the key. So our rankings are agnostic based on the 20 plus million users on our platform each month. So our rankings don't care if someone found someone on Spotify, on Netflix, in a movie theater, or on TikTok.
Got it. And can you tell us any stories of any, trending creators that you've identified before anyone else has seen them?
Addison Rae got interviewed by the LA Times, and they said, "How'd you get discovered?" She said, "Famous Birthdays emailed me when I had 250,000 or 300,000 followers." And we knew to email her because of the amount of activity on our site for her, even though it was very early.
And how's the business evolved since you kind of created it in 2012, and then here we are, 2023, 11 years later?
Well, now we have a pro product. So all these insights I've talked about are important for talent agencies and social platforms and brands. Our website is free. You don't have to log in to use it. We don't track users.
If you're a creator or the manager of a creator, in the creator economy. How should you think about famous birthdays?
Well, we directly interact with management companies and agencies to get their rosters to make sure. Now, you need our usually a creator gets added to our platform once they pass 100,000 followers.
And what about AI? Like, can you imagine using AI in the business or impacting your business?
AI is valuable when you upload your own data to it. So we manually fact checked everything. ChatGPT told me Kobe Bryant went to North Carolina. I'm a basketball fan. I know he never went to college. So we're always going to manually fact check and write the bios ourselves.
What are your predictions for the creator economy moving forward? 2024, what do you kind of expect to see?
I think that the short form disruption has pros and cons. Pros is that users want it, and there's so many different platforms that you can grow on. Obviously, cons are monetization is lower. So I think the creators are going to have more work to do because they're going to have to manage 6 different short form platforms versus just YouTube.
In this clip, we're featuring highlights from my conversation with Scott van den Berg, founder of Influencer Capital. Scott's company structures equity deals between promising startups and influential people like celebrities, athletes, and social media stars. He shares insights on why startups should consider equity partnerships with influencers, how these deals work, and some exciting examples of successful influencer-backed brands.
Influencer Capital is an organization that structures equity deals between promising startups and influential people, whether it's an influencer, creator, celebrity, athlete, actor, whatever fits a startup. And it basically allows startups to partner up with the West's most recognizable faces and put their startup in front of millions of consumers. So I started my own investment banking firm together with a good friend of mine. And we were basically helping these European companies to raise capital from US investors. And we did quite well. So we had clients in 12 European countries, and we were helping them raise capital. And in exchange for that, we would get a consulting fee. But that became quite frustrating because, I said you're helping these companies grow. And then a year later, you look on your LinkedIn and you see that these companies raised 20, 50, sometimes hundreds of millions of dollars. And we were like, shit, it would have been much more interesting if we had a small equity percentage in these companies instead of the consulting fee that we got. So it actually comes back to 3 value propositions for startups. So the first one is obviously that it allows startups to partner up with the West's most recognizable faces and put their startup in front of millions of consumers without spending any cash. So a lot of startups, they would obviously love to work together with celebrities, but they don't have necessarily the budgets to do so. We find equity model they can, and it really allows them to scale fast. Secondly, it also allows them to create authentic relationship with these influential people. And then lastly, if you have these types of people on board as shareholders, it basically gives you this celebrity-backed status, which is going to help you with credibility, which is going to help you with PR, because a lot of journalists, they love to cover news about celebrities. Aviation Gin, which is a gin company that is actually started in 2006 already. And then in 2017, Ryan Reynolds had his first sip of the actor Ryan Reynolds, people know him from Deadpool. He had his first sip of gin, and he referred to it as the best damn gin on the planet. And then he reached out to the brand and said, hey, I would love to be involved, but not necessarily in a cash deal, but I would love to have equity in the brand. So they got the deal together, an equity deal. And Ryan Reynolds was basically involved in the marketing activities. The brand immediately took off and became the second largest gin brand in the United States. And only 2 years later, Diageo acquired the company for $610 million. I definitely think that a lot more of these types of equity deals are going to happen, or celebrities are going to start their own brands. What you see nowadays is that traditional consumer brands, they're struggling a lot. And it has to do with things as increased customer acquisition cost, because platforms like Facebook, Instagram, they just significantly increase the prices. But these types of celebrity brands, they basically have a free channel, because if the celebrity promotes it on the Instagram, they can reach millions of people without spending a single dollar. So they just have a unique advantage.
In this clip, we're joined by influencer marketing consultant Lindsay Gamble. Lindsay shares valuable insights on the evolving landscape of influencer marketing, discussing key trends for 2024, the impact of AI, and the growing importance of micro-influencers.
AI is playing a big role in the creator economy. I think from the platforms themselves, I think every major social media platform integrated AI in some capacity, everything from tools to, create new content, to some of the advertising tools themselves. I think it's going to continue to play a big role for creators as well as brands. to kind of streamline those processes. One of the big announcements that YouTube made last year during its Made on YouTube event was a handful of new AI tools. And one of the big ones was AI dubbing. And if we think about creators today you really have to be across every platform. You typically have to repurpose content to really build audiences elsewhere. But with like a tool like that, it becomes a little easier for creators, especially on YouTube, to reach new audiences, as opposed to having to repost content on every platform and create new content every day. Now with tools like AI dubbing, they can actually reach new audiences with the same content. We think about English as the main language, but that's just a very smart. We think about English as the main language, but that's just a very small part of the world. And so if I'm an English speaking creator, I can now use YouTube's tool or any other AI powered dubbing tool out there to reach new audiences across the world that you weren't able to reach before because of the language barrier. On that same note, we're seeing more people become creators because of AI. You don't necessarily have to know how to take a great photo today or cut up a video. There's AI tools out there, all these different text to video or text to photo generators now open the opportunity for people that have imagination to be able to create content. And depending on who you talk to, maybe it's not the same thing as being a creator, but it ultimately unlocks a new pool of creators that weren't able to do it before because maybe they didn't have that physical skill to take a photo or know how to use editing software. Another thing is where I think there's going to be some friction is really between brands and creators. One of the things I've been paying attention a lot to is just how creators have become a really key source for creative content for paid media. And so in my line of work, we'll work with brands and help them connect with creators to produce, content assets that they then repurpose on their social channels, but also use that for paid media. And so if we think about where AI is going and the AI tools we have today across Meta and some of the other platforms, you can create a net new piece of content that can be used as your paid media asset. But you also could take existing content and be able to update that or edit that so that, say, if I took a photo today during the wintertime here in Boston and say it has a winter background, I can take that same photo, integrate it into some of these social media platform tools or other tools and be able to strip out the background and turn that into a photo that's really aligned with, seasonal content for the summer or the holidays. And so we're just seeing a lot of disruption.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to see how quickly these tools are evolving, and we're certainly testing some of the dubbing tools like Papercup and Ditto. Do you think that influencer marketing has reached sort of a point of saturation where audiences are becoming immune to sponsored content, or do you still think there's a long way to go?
I think there's still a long way to go. I would actually say it's evolving. It's when I talked about this de-influencing earlier, a lot of people questioned and said like, hey, does this mean that influencer marketing is dead? And one of the big points that I see about that, scenario, the influences, is that it actually shows the evolution of influencer marketing. I've always been a big fan of micro influencers. Actually, the company I work for, Maverick, now called Later, really started based on the micro influencer. And the micro influencer is great because they can do a little bit of everything. They typically can create great content. They usually have higher engagement rates because they're a little more relatable.
You mentioned earlier about LinkedIn, and I'm really curious to kind of hear your thoughts on LinkedIn.
I think LinkedIn is a awesome platform, and it's one of the platforms that is I spend a lot of time on, and the platform that I'm most active on. And there's a great opportunity on LinkedIn because B2B marketing or B2B influencer marketing is, I feel like, a little behind compared to your typical consumer influencer marketing.
I wondered, what sort of advice would you give to someone who's just starting out in the industry as a creator?
I would say patience. When we look at TikTok is creating overnight stars. And, I think people say they want to be a creator, but it's hard work. I think, you got to have patience. You have to understand that it's really hard to, build a community and build an audience. But if you stick with it over time, you're more than likely to, get to where you want to go.
Thank you for listening. Please hit subscribe to hear from the pioneers shaping the creator economy.